Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel for another installment of In the Trenches, your one-stop shop for all things Call of Duty Challengers, all the time. So Vanguard is officially here, and we have some more Challengers news to catch up on because, as you know, the news cycle in Challengers pretty much never ends. I'm excited to, move sort of away from the news with these and, still cover the news and the roster moves and all that, but get more into sort of breakdowns of how I expect things to go. Maybe some power rankings mixed in there at sometimes. Just I wanted to wait and see until we saw how the game played to do stuff like that. So right now we're still focusing on the news and the storylines, but we will definitely get to more game-specific stuff as we move down into the future of this series. But anyway, if you enjoy the video and the Challengers update, let me know by leaving a like down below and leave a comment as well with your thoughts on the video and what we talk about today. And also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Challengers coverage and general CDL videos from me in the future. I do appreciate all of your support in these videos so very much. I am trying to give it my all this year for Vanguard and really go hard and get a lot of videos out for you guys. So hope you enjoy them. I do appreciate all of your support, and let's hop right into the video. I should have said in the intro that this video is going to be mostly NA focused because either I'm following the wrong people on Twitter and not in the loop over in EU, or there's just not as much drama and roster shakeups over there. So if I did miss a lot of EU stuff, I'm sorry. I will try to expand who I follow to make sure I get more of that in the future. Anyway, we have a lot of NA stuff to talk about, starting off with some four-man rosters. So we have one here that I think is a very good team. I think they'll be right up there with the top teams and challengers in NA. I really do. As long as this team can stick, Parasite, Diamondcon, Exotic, and Royalty, they absolutely can be one of the top teams from last year. It is basically Team Canada with Parasite in place of Fellow/Dave Patty. And it's a good roster. I mean, Parasite and Royalty, in my mind, have been some of the most successful and just straight up the best NA Challengers players over the past 2 years, really. Parasite has had a ton of success, all kinds of different rosters, always moving pieces, and he's always doing well. Diamondcon, I'm super high on as well. I think we will see him back in the CDL very soon, so super high on him, very good player. And Exotic is a good player as well. Him and Royalty have kind of been a duo for a little while now, and they'd have lots of success. So that's a team that I think, like I said, they'll do very well if they stick together because they certainly have veteran experience, they have lots of talent, and they should have some chemistry as well. So they have pretty much everything going for them that you need to succeed in Challengers. I think that's a very good squad. Moving on over to Shady Kings. This org came about, I believe, last year. That's the first I heard of them. They had Parasite at one point, I believe, maybe Hamza too. This year, therefore, to start the year will be Archives, Jimbo, Zyril, and Rambi. Not a bad team. It's obviously, I don't think it's one of the top teams in NA Challengers, but it's also not one of the bottom teams. Like, it's probably right there in that top 8-ish range. You're not really going to have a super high top 3 ceiling or anything, but they're also going to be a decent team and a team that, on a good day, can beat a lot of the top teams. They are definitely quality players, and they're going to make a decent team, in my opinion. Moving on over to the storylines, this is just Challengers in a nutshell. The next couple minutes, what we're going to talk about here, perfectly sums up Challengers. So if you remember from last time, we had the roster change up where Silly, Mox, Johnny, and Vicol were going to be a team together. And then last minute, Vicol, well, not last minute, but Vicol dropped out. He went over to join Assault, Exceed, and Pentagram on a team. So they were looking for a fourth, Mox, Silly, and Johnny. They're looking for a sub. And as of 2 days ago, the day before Vanguard dropped, they were still looking for a sub. They didn't have anybody. So it was like, okay, this is a pretty good squad. At least Mox and Silly, they're going to be a good AR duo, definitely. And Johnny, like Silly says here, he thinks he has, a lot of potential. So he thought they're going to get a fourth player. And according to Mox, they do. He says here, so this is about, 11 hours before Vanguard comes out, the official launch. He says, got our fourth, gaming with my bro Nero Poison again this year, excited to play tonight. So Nero is a guy who I've talked about a lot in the past. He was with LAG Academy's team last year for a good bit, pretty much the whole year, I think. He's a very good player. I thought he had a chance to make the CDL this year. I unfortunately was wrong. That's okay. He's still a very good player, and I thought this was going to be a good team. Him and Mox definitely would be a good duo, carrying over their chemistry from last year. Then we get 6 hours later, check the timestamp. Never mind, I need another fourth. Jesus. So Nero, again, we assume, he doesn't say for sure who it is, but Nero, we can assume, is out. So for about 6 hours, Nero was their fourth. He is now out of there. You see Vivid in the comments, bro, what? And then Chance says, Mox says, our fourth just hate us. So not looking good for this team of 3. They just can't get a fourth. We go over here, I'm going to sort of tie this together. I'm going to pivot off of this for now. We'll come back to it, and you'll see. We have this from Tom Gravity. He says, okay, well, I find myself in this position again somehow, so free agent for Challengers. If anyone's trying to get something started, let me know. Retweets appreciated. Tom Gravity, we talked about in the last video. He was supposed to be teaming with definitely Nero, and I believe, was it Venom? And they needed a fourth. I think that's how it was. They were looking for a Flex AR yet, so I was talking about how that had the potential to be a pretty good team of 3, and with a good Flex AR for their fourth, that could be a very good squad. But then you find out here, Tom Gravity, it does not look good, and he was pretty upset about it. He was pretty much saying, I don't know if I can keep doing this. You know, I might just quit, which is tough because I believe I'm top 5 in my position, but I can't keep putting myself through all the fake stuff and the politics. It takes way too big of a toll on my mental. And like I said in the comments, you see my comment there, I can't relate to what he's saying. You know, I'm not a top 5 Call of Duty player at my position, in my opinion, but I do understand sort of how it seems like he gets a lot of credit from the community and people in the community, but it just doesn't seem like he gets enough credit from the right people, the ones who ultimately make the decisions as to who gets signed to CDL rosters. So he was getting very upset, rightfully, and then that didn't last very long. So there was an official tweet put out, and I'm not even sure who put it out. I cannot find it anymore. But here is this from Hamza, and you probably aren't going to be able to see when I click on this. I doubt you will. Yeah, you can actually. So we have another team of 4. We have Hamza, Zaptius, Gravity, and Nero. So that is why Nero was out on Chance or Mox and Silly's team and moved over to this team with the Wester boys. And this is a roster that, again, I'm pretty high on. I do kind of think Hamza and Gravity, in my opinion, are both sort of suited for the main AR spot. So if I had a guess, I would think Hamza probably would be considered their flex AR, maybe play a little bit faster. Gravity's not really a fast-paced player. That'd be my guess, but this is a team that definitely, I think, will be certainly a good search and destroy team. And you see that here. I mean, they 6-1, actually, that team we just talked about with Vicol, Exceed, Assault, and Pentagram. And they were playing the S&D tourneys together, this team of 4 with Hamza and them, and they were doing well. They were also playing under the official Wester banner, so I assume that's what they're going to be under, Wester. I'm not 100% sure, but I think. And I should also add, literally about a half hour before I started recording this video, they actually played the Atlanta FaZe in a Search and Destroy tournament and beat them. So definitely a good search team. Will remain to be seen in the respawns how they do, but I'm excited for Nero. I think he's very good. That's a good group of guys to be playing with, guys that had a lot of success last year in Cold War and Challengers, and guys I think this team could have a lot of success together again this year. So exciting stuff, just crazy, and it goes to show Challengers, nothing is ever set in stone. There's just always moving parts and pieces, and that is a great example of it. But moving on to some not complete teams, remember last time we talked about Casey Panda and GodRx. They have apparently had an organization, unnamed, we assume they were to be built by gamers who they played with last year. They had an org that was going to, have salaries, team housing, a place to play, all this good stuff, and they just needed a pair of SMGs. They had 2 ARs and needed a pair of SMGs. And then he says, well, I believe me and GodRx might need 2, and we have no org, or I will just need a team to run it up. Everything is officially looking like it's fallen through. I have been informed. So that's obviously very unfortunate. You go from having, basically almost a professional level opportunity just in Challengers in the amateur side, with the pay, with the place to play, all of that, making content, and it all falls through. So that's very unfortunate for Casey Pander. Definitely felt bad for him and GodRx, of course, too. I didn't put his tweet up, but both of them. And as of right now, when I'm recording this, as far as I know, they still don't have a roster. So I'm going to assume they're going to stick together as a team of 2. I guess I can't say for sure, but it seems to make the most sense. They're going to still be 2, and they're looking for subs, and it's not going to be with a Built by Gamers or any other org that we know of right now. So certainly an unfortunate development for those guys. That's a great opportunity, and I thought a lot of players might have been interested in that, and now it has fallen through. So you certainly have to feel bad for them about that. Moving on to more big name free agents in the Challenger scene, we have some fallout from some CDL roster moves actually. So as we all know by now, I was actually the one to report it over on Twitter. The Washington CDL team spot has fallen through, and that team was supposed to be Methods, Vivid, TJ Halley, and Paul X. Now those players, of course, don't have any opportunities as we currently stand. And Paul X put out, still a free agent for next year. If any teams are still looking for one, I can use anything. If any Challengers players want to get something started, let the kid know. So I threw it in here because he did mention Challengers. That is something where if he does not get the remaining, whichever team, we don't even know who the 12th team is going to be in the CDL this year, but if that team would offer him, he'd obviously accept it, over playing in Challengers. But if it didn't happen, he is clearly interested in playing in Challengers, and I'm sure he would be a highly sought-after commodity because, again, last year with Wester to start the year, he was one of the best players in Challengers, and, it went to show how it didn't take long, and he was ultimately up in the CDL, I think, by stage 2. So that's just a great opportunity. If anybody could team with that guy, I'm sure they would definitely jump at the opportunity because he has a lot of success and he certainly has the name value and the pedigree to go with it. So he'll land on his feet. I know that for sure. He'll be back in the CDL, maybe not right away this year, but at some point later this year or next year. No doubt about that. But for right now, he is still up in limbo. Again, more fallout from that same, roster situation. We have Colt Havoc. So again, as you know, that I've said on Twitter, Vivid was signed by the Florida Mutineers. That has been confirmed, so that's not a rumor. That's confirmed. He's on Florida, and the original report was that Havoc was going to be Florida's sub player, but as we substitute. But as we know now, I didn't put it in here, but just a little bit ago, he announced that tomorrow's actually, or maybe today, is his last day with Florida, so he's not signed at all. Makes me think Yeez might be getting signed back to them on a substitute spot because he did tweet out a contract gif. As I reported, he was released from Florida. I think he might be back now. That is not confirmed. That is just speculation. But anyway, Havoc says, I'm not entirely sure what's next, but I prepared myself to give this year my all, and I'm not letting this or anything else stop me. Challengers, players, / teams hit me up. I'm coming different. Another guy, same sort of thing as Paul X. This is a person where I can see a lot of amateurs and a lot of young guys really taking the opportunity to want to play with Havoc. He, of course, has a lot of experience, he has a lot of connections in the scene, and he's been a very good player over the course of his career. And you see somebody there, okay, you can't quite see it, Decaf, my boy Decaf down here, he actually added Casey Pender and GodRX, and that would be a nice squad looking for a fourth player, maybe like a Venom, something like that. But that would be a very good team. But wherever Colt's going to go, I'm sure Havoc will definitely be, he'll get some looks because he is a very talented player and has been for a while now. So I do think he will end up with a team, a top team in Challengers, or he could get a CDL spot as well. I would say most likely, I would guess he might get a CDL substitute spot and then play in Challengers. I don't know for sure, I'm just guessing, but I do kind of think at this point we're going to see Havoc in Challengers in some capacity this year. Just don't know who he's going to be with yet. And just two more quick things to throw in here. I wanted to throw this in. So Yeez and Timmy Phantoms, who are going to be teamed together this year alongside Dylan Rex and Hixie, they won the 2v2 CMG Search New Store tournament. They each won $1,000. Just thought it was interesting. They actually beat Aiden and Rated in the finals. So, you know, two of the top Warzone players in the world over here playing Search and Destroy and falling to Yeez and Timmy Phantoms. So good for Timmy Phantoms and Yeez. I think that team that they have is going to be a great Search and Destroy team all year long in Challengers. You know, overall, they're going to be a great team, but especially in Search and Destroy. And finally, speaking of Rated, we have this here. So he was having a lot of fun last night playing Search and Destroy tournaments. As you see here, he says, it's so dumb of me to leave Warzone, literally free money. And that's true. He's won, like, I think almost $300,000 over the course of Warzone in, like, what, less than 2 years or whatever it's been. So lots of money in a not very long time. But then he says, but I've got that itch bad. I know I'd have to do Challengers, but I just want to get back on that stage, and I know I can. So, again, throw it in here because he mentioned Challengers, because he knows he's not going to come back and get a CDL spot right away. Not as a substitute, not anything. He, right now, is on the outside looking in if he wanted to compete. However, he does think that if he does think he's capable. He knows he'd have to go through Challengers first, but he's good enough in his mind to get back in the CDL. Now, I will say, I don't think he'll do it, and the reason why is pretty much what he says in the tweet, because he knows he'd have to go through Challengers, and we all know that can be an absolute nightmare with the host situation, potential hackers, all of that stuff. He's probably just better off for his career, you know, streaming and playing Warzone and making way more money. But at the end of the day, he is a competitor, and competitors, what do they want to do? They want to compete. So if he gets a good Challengers offer, maybe he consider it. Again, I doubt it, but just want to throw it in here because it makes it seem like it's a possibility, and we'll just have to follow the situation and go from here and see what happens with Rated. But like I said, I would assume he just stays in Warzone and keeps making a pile of money. But anyway, that is going to do it for the video. So again, just a lot of roster news and a lot of, you know, storylines going on now. Again, I will be sort of pivoting over to the power rankings, the previews, event, you know, talking about which teams I think are going to stand out, all that good stuff. That's definitely coming soon after we see more Vanguard develop and see how the game really starts to play out. But for now, more news videos, and I hope you enjoyed it. So if you did, leave a like down below and let me know, and also leave a comment as well with your thoughts on what we talked about today, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me in the future. I do appreciate all of your support on my videos so very much. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good day today, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.